Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ryan Mish, and tonight my partner Renee and I will be talking about the issue of stem cell research. We firmly believe that the current use of stem cell research involving the use of embryonic stem cells is unjust. We're not the only people in favor of this idea. Many people voiced their concerns on this. You may be asking, why is this so? Because a major source of the stem cell research is received from taking embryos that are destroyed in the process of extracting stem cells. So we, the affirmative, believe that the current policy, which states that federal funding will support the use of research of any and all stem cell research, is immoral. Therefore, we would like to restore President Bush's policy of August 2001, which provided federal funding for all non-embryonic research and still allowed for the 60 embryonic stem cell lines that were in use to further advance in this field. Now, many of you may be wondering what stem cells are. Well, according to Medical News Today, stem cells are a class of undifferentiated cells that are able to differentiate into specialized cell types. Stem cells are seen by many researchers as having virtually unlimited application in the treatment and cure of many human diseases and disorders, including but not limited to Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancers, strokes, and etc. Commonly, stem cells come from two main sources. There's the embryonic stem cells, which we believe should not be used, and adult stem cells. We believe that the taking of the embryonic stem cells is basically murder. Genetically, an embryo is a human being, a very tiny, maybe undeveloped human being, but a human being nonetheless. Human life begins at the union of sperm and ovum, says Dr. Wilk. During this first day, it is properly termed as a fertilized egg. However, the single-celled human body divides over and over again, so that nearing at the end of the first week, it is officially called an embryo. Even if stem cell treatment ultimately does prove successful, embryonic cell treatment involves the deliberate killing of a human being in an embryonic stem cell. The researcher must cut open the embryo and receive the stem cells inside. At least one company, the Jones Institute for Reproductive Medicine of Norfolk, Virginia, is now fertilizing embryos in a laboratory using sperm and eggs that were purchased from people specifically for the reason to be raised and then killed so that the parts could be harvested and benefited for others. Therefore, the taking of these cells from embryos is morally wrong. Now on to what we believe that it should only be used from adult stem cells. Adult stem cells bear some similarities to embryonic stem cells. Research using adult cells has a 2-decade head start over the embryonic stem cells. So therefore, potential treatments and actual treatments are already on human trial stages. Adult stem cells exist throughout the body after embryonic development are found in various types of the tissues. They can be found in the areas such as brain, bone marrow, blood, skeletal muscles, skin, and liver. They remain in a non-dividing state for years until the body is harmed or the tissue is harmed, and then they start to divide for that reason. The adult stem cells can divide or self-renew indefinitely, enabling them to regenerate multiple different cell types from either a part of the organ or the entire organ itself. It was generally thought that adult stem cells were limited to their to differentiate based on their tissue of origin, but now there's been evidence and tests to suggest that they could be used for other cell types as well. Research on adult stem cells has become more and more common, and according to the National Institute of Health, scientists have found adult stem cells in many more tissues than they once thought possible. In early 2002, New Scientist magazine reported that Catherine Verfali's team at the University of Minnesota had found stem cells in the bone marrow of adults that may be capable of becoming almost any of the 220 tissue types in the human body. These multipotent adult progenitor cells might match the flexibility and potential of stem cells derived from the embryos. Catherine's team was able to isolate these cells from about 70 of the 100 people who donated samples of their bone marrow. This finding has led researchers to ask whether the cells could be used for transplants. And in fact, stem cells from bone marrow have been used in transplants for over 40 years. And so therefore scientists believe that they could have even a better range going in the future. So once again, we believe that the use of embryonic stem cells is unneeded. They involve the unnecessary killing of an embryo, which is a human, and when there's an alternate response that could have either equal or greater potential. We believe that this topic is so morally and religiously controversial that much more consideration should be taken into account than what is given. And we also believe that the adult stem cells will prove to be a much better alternative since there's already been decades of research on the topic. It's given by the consent of the people, and it does not involve the taking of a human life.